Camera is rolling.
One, go, go, Power Rangers. Take two.
One jacket, take two. Two! Brothers, take three. Two ladies, take one. Three chubby little babies, take three. Two cognition, take three. Two dudes chilling in the hot tub, take two.
My name is Robin Lazara. The first job I ever had, I was an assistant dance counselor at a summer day camp, and I did that for a year. When I'm not working, I really enjoy hanging out with my friends. Most of them are in Buffalo, so I haven't seen them in a while. I really enjoy working on my own projects as well. I've written a few things, but primarily I like producing my friends' projects that they've written themselves. I enjoy dancing and video games. I became interested in filmmaking in high school when I would get assigned video projects for my Spanish class, my English class, and me and all my friends would always get together. We would write a script about all the stuff that we've learned. Acting in it would always be so fun. I just really enjoyed the editing process specifically of that video project. And I realized, because I originally planned to major in dance, I actually found out that I got tendonitis, which meant that I wouldn't be able to pursue a professional career that would be strenuous. So I was like, what's something as a backup that I can major in? And I was like, I really enjoy the editing process, so maybe I can look into filmmaking and like editing and pursue becoming an editor. So I went to a SUNY fair and I found Buffalo State College, and they have this program called Television and Film Arts that accept 15 students a year. And I automatically assumed I wasn't going to get in, but they said they also had a communications department that was more general. So my plan was to go into that. I also applied to the Television and Film Arts program just to put my shot out there. And I found out that I got in when I was coming back from lunch in high school, and I cried. I was very excited. And when I got there at orientation, I realized I was a little bit further behind than my peers because I was only interested in the self-taught editing aspect. I didn't really know anything about film directors or older films or the history of cinema. And I went through the Television and Film Arts program. I took History of Cinema, where we got to watch all these older movies and watched how they developed and changed throughout the years. The Television and Film Arts classes, I took Introduction to Television and Film Arts, where we basically just went, all got to meet each other, and then at the end of the semester we worked in groups that were assigned to make our own short films. My sophomore year, there was Television and Film Arts 401, 420, and in 401 we had to split up in 3 different groups and make 3 different projects, each one focusing on something different. The 401 projects focused on interpersonal relationships, where we had to come up with a script focusing on relationships between 2 people. Our trailer project, where we had to make a movie trailer for a movie that didn't exist.
Yo, that choreo's on point.
Dude, this is really fucking cool.
I was thinking, if we did something exactly like this, it would be super badass.
It says the oldest member of a boy band was 19.
So, what do?
I've got it. We'll become a man band.
That one was a lot of fun. And in the 420 class, everybody split up and everybody in the class was responsible for getting their individual scripts done. And then my senior year, we did a TV pilot project where we had a writing team and all the roles were assigned by our professor. I was actually the executive producer of my classes. We wrote a script, shot it, edited it, and premiered it all in one semester. I actually haven't been on set in a while because I've been primarily working in the production office. But last year, the summer of 2017, I worked as a production assistant and I was always on set. There's a lot of walkie-talkies that are used on set, and that's the primary form of communication between the crew and the director and the assistant director. So it's really cool being able to hear all that chatter between all the different departments. There are just so many different people working together, everybody with their own responsibilities to make this thing come off of the script to real life. Like, it's pretty awesome. My favorite aspect of production is probably a battle between pre-production and post-production, because I enjoy producing, but I also enjoy editing. I really enjoy the pre-production process because that's when you get the script and you break it down and you see what you need, and I really enjoy budgeting, organizing, just scheduling, making sure everything comes together in order for this to become a reality. But at the same time, I also enjoy the post-production process because that's after everything's been said and done, everything is shot. it's your responsibility that if there's anything that doesn't work, to make it work. So problem solving overall in pre-production and post-production is probably my favorite aspect. Some of the drawbacks I've faced working in film, definitely the long days. Those can be really tough. They're normally typical 12-hour day. Sometimes you can go over to 14, 16 hours. You have to make sure you're eating the right stuff, eating in general. Sometimes people forget to do that because they're so busy. Meeting deadlines can become really stressful. Even trying to make your day on a 12-hour set, just making sure you get everything shot that you needed to get can be super stressful. Having thick skin is very important. I did not have thick skin when I first started out, so it's very easy to just break down or feel like you've had enough. But if you just keep pushing and telling yourself it's not personal, I can do this, it is honestly so worth it. Non-professionally, the project I am the most proud of is a music video I created titled The Inclusion Crisis. During your senior year, you're responsible for creating a thesis project where you conduct research and then you present it. So I decided to create a video on my research that looked into the lack of diversity in TV and film. I also did a little research into the Oscars and the lack of diversity that has been in all the nominations. And then I combined dance and film and all the research that I did to create this project in hopes of teaching everyone a little bit more about the facts that aren't talked about a lot in the mainstream media. Currently, I'm finishing up the season 11 of Murphy Brown. It's a reboot of a sitcom that was on in the late 80s. It's all the same cast. Even some of the crew is the same from the late 80s, which has been a really cool experience working with people who have been doing this for a very long time. I was hired in late July. I applied as soon as I was done working on another movie just to get my resume out there. And then they did a FaceTime interview and they said they wanted to hire me. I started as production secretary and I also doubled as the line producer's assistant, which are normally two completely different jobs, but the person that they had doing my job previously was doing both. So I learned a lot about being an assistant and being a production secretary on a TV show rather than a film. I have a lot of responsibilities that include like distributing all of the necessary production documents to all the cast and the crew, and answering the phones is a really big responsibility because people are always calling the production office. And working as a producer's assistant, I am also responsible for getting him into a lot of conference calls and maintaining his schedule. We have our last episode that we're taping next week. One of the biggest differences between working on Murphy Brown and working on anything I've worked on previous to this is that everything on Murphy Brown is shot on a sound stage. All the features that I worked on have been shot on location, where people are traveling from one location to the next. Sometimes it's an hour apart, sometimes it's 2 minutes apart. Working on Murphy Brown, all of the sets are downstairs on the first floor of Kaufman Astoria Studios, and it's all on a sound stage. And then on top of the first floor is the production office, which is great because everybody that works in the production office is only a flight of steps away from the entire crew. But on all the stuff I've worked on previously, the production office is usually in one location and the set location could be an hour away. So then if something needed to get from the office to set, somebody would have to go travel and then we would lose that person in the office for a significant amount of time. But with the soundstage being right there, everybody is always in one spot at the same time and everyone is always together. And like because of that, I've gotten to meet so many more crew members and just it makes things a lot easier. I prefer working on film rather than TV because I really enjoy the creative use of the camera. And I feel like in film, there's so much more freedom with single camera stuff for the cinematographer and the director to do long takes and to do crazy things with the camera that have never been seen before, and to just block out whole scenes without having the camera cut at all. But with multicam television shows, it's more like theater where they rehearse all week and then they perform in front of a live studio audience on Friday, they can do at most 3 or 4 takes. But when you're working on a movie, you can do 12 takes if you have to, if time permits. With film, I feel like the camera can sometimes be a character. So over the course of the next 5 years, I plan on going back to Buffalo in January in hopes of working on a few more independent films there and work as either an assistant production coordinator or production coordinator, depending on how open they are to hiring new people into new positions. Because to go up the production route to become a producer, it's normally production assistant, office PA, production secretary, which is where I am right now, and then assistant production coordinator, and line producer, which is the person who pretty much is the big boss. They create the budget. A lot of people go to them whenever they have questions. They oversee everything. And I ideally think I want to become a line producer. I think the most valuable skill to have going into the industry is communication abilities, because the entire filmmaking process is group work, people working together to reach a common goal, constant communication between different departments to make sure that everybody understands the director's vision. If one step is missed among all this communication, everything just falls apart. And then it's just a big mess that has to be cleaned up. So being able to communicate with people and being able to manage your time well. 12-hour days can be a lot. You can forget to eat, you can forget to sleep, you can forget to take care of outside of work responsibilities. So just being able to manage time and yourself and self-care is very important. My advice that I would give to students aspiring a career in film would be to learn as much as you can while you're still in school. Try as many different things as you can. Pick up a camera even if you think you can't. Experiment with lighting, producing, editing. Just get as much hands-on experience as you can, because that is the best time to fail, because there aren't that many repercussions as there would be if you were in the real world and you were hired for something and you couldn't meet the expectations of the person who hired you. Learning through experience is something that I think is so important, because failing and getting back up only makes you a stronger person. And definitely working on having thick skin, because people are going to be tough on you and it's going to get tough and it can be really discouraging. But at the end of the day, it is definitely worth it for you to come out stronger.